Hello and welcome. You're watching Good Morning India. I'm Gargi Rawat. Stay with us for all the news you need to start your day with. We'll get you all the latest on COVID and all the election news coming up over the next 1 hour. Let's take a look at the headlines we're tracking. Mumbai reported 8,646 fresh COVID infections. That's the highest ever single-day spike since the beginning of the pandemic. Maharashtra too saw a record spike of 43,183 new infections. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has called an urgent meeting with the Health Minister and other officials as Delhi reported 2,790 new COVID cases. The Prime Minister will address two rallies in poll-bound Tamil Nadu today in Madurai and Kanyakumari. Later in the day, he will head to Kerala. And there was high drama in Nandigram on polling day. Mamata Banerjee calls the governor amid a face-off with BJP workers, while the Prime Minister later says Didi has accepted defeat. Our top story, COVID vaccinations opened up for those over 45 years of age on Thursday as the country reported over 70,000 cases in a single day, which is the highest increase since early October. Over 17 lakh vaccine doses were given in a day, and now 1 crore people are eligible for vaccinations, and vaccinations will take place on holidays as well. There will be double shifts in Mumbai.
Rajesh Shah and many others made sure they got the jab on the first day they became eligible. As a chemist, he interacts with hundreds of people a day in Mumbai, which is seeing a massive surge in cases.
Everybody has to take, and there is very good facilities over here. Nothing have to worry. All the people and the doctors are very good, very cooperative.
Mumbai officials plan to vaccinate 1 lakh people a day, up from the current 45,000, and work in double shifts from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. There's similar pressure in smaller cities too. In eastern Uttar Pradesh's Gorakhpur, Professor Pramod Kumar Shukla and his family said they'd been living in fear of the virus.
हम लोग पूरा परिवार दहशत में कई महीनों तक हम लोग अगस्त से लेकर आज तक दहशत में रहे कि कब कुछ मिले जिससे हमको निजात मिल सके। शुक्रिया है इसका और धन्यवाद है इस प्रयास का कि हम लोगों को आज कोरोना वैक्सीन मिली।
In Delhi, private and government hospitals are running vaccine centers 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 46-year-old Meenakshi Pandey explains why even homemakers like her were waiting for today.
मैं हाउस वाइफ हूँ वैसे, लेकिन हम लोग मार्केट जाते हैं, सब्जी लानी है, दूध लाना है, तो कोरोना तो है ही, अभी गया नहीं है, तो अपनी फैमिली के प्रोटेक्शन के लिए जो है मैंने वैक्सीन लगवाया।
In Chennai, 51-year-old Mathia Rasu, a software professional, already caught COVID 6 months ago but wants to prevent a reinfection.
Actually, I was positive a couple of months back.
You recovered?
I got recovered. Now I got vaccinated. I got my first dose today. It was a difficult period. Okay, so.
You were hospitalized?
Yeah, I was hospitalized. Here only I was for 5 days.
The government had announced that it plans to vaccinate 30 crore people by July 2021. And with vaccinations now being opened up for this new category, it is hopeful that the vaccination numbers will finally pick up pace. In New Delhi with camera person Sushil Rathi, this is Sukirti Dwivedi for NDTV.
Now, Mumbai reported the highest COVID cases in a 24-hour period with 8,646 cases of COVID, making it the highest one-day spike since the pandemic reached the city early last year. 18 deaths were reported in the 24-hour period. Maharashtra has reported over 43,000 cases in a single day. Now, there's currently no lockdown in Mumbai, but some migrant workers are leaving the city, even though state government has said if there is a lockdown, it will only be for a limited period. But memories of last year's lockdown still haunt the workers here in Dharavi. Purva Chitnis reports.
No lockdown, but some migrant workers are leaving Mumbai.
गरीब एक बार फंस जाता है उसको कोई देखने भी नहीं आता है। मैंने 3 महीने दिल्ली में रहे, 1 रुपए का बच्चे को टाफी भी नहीं मिली और दुनिया को देख रहे बड़े-बड़े आदमियों को हर चीज मिल रहा है।
Munna is a migrant worker from Uttar Pradesh. He works currently at a garment factory in Dharavi. His family is in a village. And now Munna wants to go back too, fearing a lockdown in Maharashtra. He has already inquired for a train ticket to go back on Sunday.
हम इसमें गरीब लोग परेशान होते हैं जी। सरकार तो बड़े बड़े आदमियों का पेट भर देगी, हम जैसे गरीबों को नहीं भरेगी। हम तो जहाँ पड़े हैं वहीं पड़े रहेंगे, हमें कोई देखने नहीं आएगा। जाते समय डंडे और मिलते हैं। किसी तरीके से आदमी जाना भी चाहता है ना, तो 1000 रुपये का भाड़ा होता है तो 5000 रुपये भाड़ा देना पड़ता है और डंडे अलग से लगते हैं। इसलिए हम लोग सोच रहे हैं कि अभी पहले निकलने से फ़ायदा क्या है जो बीच में फंस जाएं।
Salman, co-worker from Munna, is from Bijnor district. He has got a train ticket for Sunday and he says he doesn't want to stay back and he doesn't trust the government now.
विश्वास ही नहीं है पूरा हो या कैसे हो, इसलिए गांव जाना है। घर वाले भी बुला रहे हैं कि आ जाओ, इससे पहले लॉकडाउन लगे।
Dharavi, Asia's largest slum, has an economy estimated at $1 billion. It's run mainly on the back of migrants, who are about 3 out of every 4 people here. Now the reverse migration slowly started. Alam Khan and many others are desperately trying to stop the workers from going home. Khan had 12 workers a fortnight ago. Now only 5 are left.
कैसे समझेंगे लोग? पिछले टाइम ऐसी 15 दिन, 22 दिन, 20 दिन बोल के 6-6 महीने लॉकडाउन लग गए। वही डर अभी भी इनके मन में बसी हुई है। सीएम उद्धव जी अगर सामने आके लाइव बोल देवें कि ऐसा कुछ नहीं, लॉकडाउन होना है, आपको भागने की जरूरत नहीं है, लोगों के मन से जो डर है निकल जाएगा, लोग भागेंगे नहीं।
कारखाने में अगर 10 कारीगर हैं तो उसमें 6 जा चुके हैं, 4 हैं, तो वो भी 4 है, वो भी चले जाएंगे। ऐसी सिचुएशन है।
The state government says that if at all there is a lockdown, it will be only for a limited number of days. But still, the memories of a last lockdown still haunt the workers here in Dharavi. In Dharavi with camera person Praveen G. Rohit, this is Pooba Chitnis for NDTV.
Now, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has called for an urgent meeting with the Health Minister and other officials as the city has reported 2,790 new coronavirus cases on Thursday, which is the highest daily figure this year. The city had logged 1,819 cases a day earlier, making Thursday's jump a huge 53%. The Delhi government has also decided that there will be no physical classes for students up to Class 8. Now, Punjab on Thursday reported 3,187 fresh COVID cases, the highest single-day spike so far, and 60 more fatalities due to it. On March 26th, the state had seen the maximum daily surge of 3,176 infections. The centre has asked Punjab and Chandigarh to effectively implement the test, track and treat strategy and escalate testing. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh, while addressing a Facebook Live, said the second spike being witnessed in the state is a cause for concern as he equated it with the Spanish flu, which was prevalent from 1918 to 1922. And in Uttar Pradesh, an alarming surge in COVID cases and the number of active cases has reached close to 10,000 for the first time since mid-January. Lucknow reported 935 cases, Prayagraj 242, Varanasi 198, Kanpur 109 and Noida reported 93 cases. Now, over 4,000 new cases have been reported in Karnataka as well, including almost 3,000 in Bengaluru alone. In fact, there are over 30,000 active cases currently in the state. Now, in Uttarakhand, the Mahakumbh Mela kicked off on Thursday in Haridwar. The huge gathering comes amid the massive surge in COVID cases. Millions are expected at the congregation. It's the world's largest religious festival, which is held once every 12 years. In a first, the duration of the Mahakumbh has been curtailed. At the Mela, devotees are asking, what? Corona.
मन चंगा तो कटौती में गंगा, तो इसीलिए वहाँ भी गंगा पहुँच जाएगी अगर विश्वास होगा तो। आत्मा में विश्वास है तो गंगा मैया जहाँ जहाँ वो भक्त का पुकारेगा वहीं पहुँच जाएगी.
An appeal for COVID protocols to be followed on day 1 of Haridwar's iconic once in 12 years Mahakumbh. From its most famous Juna Akhada sadhus. But are people listening?
ये सब अफवाह फैला रहे हैं बस, और कुछ नहीं है.
आपको लगता नहीं कोरोना असली है?
ऐसे ही असली नहीं है, खाली एक राजनीति का बोल चल रहा है बस.
गंगे मैया के सामने होते हो डर किस बात का? ये माँ है हमारी, यहाँ पे किस बात का डर?
This COVID testing camp set up by the Uttarakhand government at the Kumbh venue remained largely empty on day one.
बहुत ही कम लोग आ रहे हैं अभी। उम्मीद है शाम तक बढ़ जाए, लेकिन अभी तक कुछ हुआ नहीं है।
While no official figures or a comparison from last time was available, many at the Mahakumbh said day one crowds this time were much thinner.
भीड़ कुछ नहीं है इस बार, जो 2010 में था कुंभ उससे डिपेंड है, अभी 10% भीड़ है, लग ही नहीं रहा हरिद्वार में वो कुंभ का स्नान हो रहा है।
These have already been made. The challenge before us right now is how to sustain all these facilities. With regard to COVID, there is a very detailed SOP that has been issued by the government of.
As Kumbh has officially started, millions of devotees are expected to arrive in Haridwar in the upcoming days. While the administration has assured all the appropriate arrangements, strict adherence to the COVID guidelines and implementation of all the rules by the local administration will hold the key to ensure that there is no spread of COVID-19 because of this religious gathering. With camera person Ashok Mahale and colleague Dinesh Mansera, I'm Akshay Dongre for NDTV.
And actor Alia Bhatt has tested positive for coronavirus. She revealed this in her Instagram story. In a statement shared late on Thursday night, the 28-year-old actor wrote, "Hello all, I've tested positive for COVID. I have immediately isolated myself and will be under home quarantine." She's also thanked everyone for their support and wishes. Time for us to slip into a short break. More news on the other side. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee had to be rescued by the Central Paramilitary Forces on Thursday during the second phase of polling after having to stay confined for more than 2 hours at a polling booth in Nandigram amid a tense face-off between BJP and Trinamool supporters. From the spot, she dialed Governor Jagdeep Dhankar, telling him the situation was a failure of the Election Commission. The Prime Minister, though, later said Didi has accepted defeat.
High drama in high-stakes Nandigram. Jai Shri Ram slogans greeting Mamata Banerjee at Boyal village when she came to find out why her polling agent had allegedly been stopped by BJP workers from entering the booth. She wheelchaired her way right inside, but outside, an eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation that could have spun out of control between BJP and TMC supporters. These villagers rushed to the school and started shouting Jai Shri Ram slogans, very, very angry with Mamata Banerjee. You can see the BJP supporters there shouting, clapping, clearly feeling that they have the upper hand in this hostile situation, so resembling of a battlefield, with two sides facing off on two sides, and Mamata Banerjee, the Chief Minister of the state, stuck, incarcerated in a room over there inside the polling booth.
She's been camping here since yesterday, so her car is going to go inside Nandigram. Her principal opponent, Shubhendu Adhikari, has also been campaigning through the day. We have seen him campaigning through the course of the day. Beg your pardon, going from station to station, polling station to polling station.
Both central and state forces tested in the tense standoff. Officers ran up and down to cajole and negotiate a pushback by BJP TMC supporters. Mamata Banerjee, once she was wheelchaired back to the main road, said she did not blame the central forces but Home Minister Amit Shah.
क्या करेगा बेचारा? वो लोग तो सेंट्रल फोर्सेस हैं, हम उसको लिए आई एम प्राउड ऑफ देम, हम उसको हमारा प्राइवेट मिनिस्टर मानते हैं, लेकिन वो तो होम मिनिस्टर इंस्ट्रक्शन दिया है, क्यों इलेक्शन कमीशन होम मिनिस्टर के इंस्ट्रक्शन सुनेगा?
Mamata also took a swipe at the Prime Minister, asking why he was campaigning in Bengal on voting day. He had 2 rallies in Bengal. He taunted her right back.
अभी कुछ ही देर पहले नंदीग्राम में जो हुआ वो हम सब ने देखा है। ये दिखाता है दीदी अपनी हार मान चुकी है।
The Trinamool retorted, saying Nandigram was Mamta's. Her rival Shubhendu Adhikari also visited the booth.
Are we going to see any Shubhendu Adhikari?
Matter is now over. Lotus are blooming.
आपने यार एक बार अपना डायलॉग तो बोलते हैं बार-बार
हरे कृष्ण हरे हरे बीजेपी घरे।
Voting is over, but Nandigram is still on edge, and post-poll violence a real possibility. With Anurag Dwari and Sanket Upadhyay in Nandigram, Monideepa Banerjee, NDTV.
Now an election special from Kerala, where we travel with top Congress leader Ramesh Chennithala. The Congress in the state is facing a major challenge from factional war.
In Kerala's Haripad, 3 hours north of Thiruvananthapuram, the state opposition leader and Congress's Ramesh Chennithala is on the road. Mr. Chennithala, a 4-time MLA, has emerged as the main spearhead of the attack on Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan.
I challenge him. Let him ready to have an institute and inquiry about the 12 allegations which I had made.
But the challenges are immense. The state Congress has been rocked with factional wars, primarily between Mr. Chennithala and former Chief Minister Umar Chandi's factions. The Congress claims to have buried their differences.
Who's going to be the next Chief Minister?
That the party high command will decide. Whatever
if Congress comes to power,
we will come to power, party high command will decide. Whatever may be the decision, I will accept. Our aim is to come back. That is most important.
But questions remain on whether there is enough public discontent to ensure a clear Congress win. In northern Kerala's Kannur, home district of the Chief Minister, Ahmed in his 60s runs a small tailoring shop. During the pandemic, he says he survived on the welfare pension that was increased by the Vijayan government from 600 to 1500 rupees. He claims he is not loyal to any party. His vote this time is for the left.
പൊതുവെ CPM വോട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന ആളാണോ?
അല്ല അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ചിന്താഗതിയൊന്നും ഉണ്ടായിട്ടില്ല. പാർട്ടി സംബന്ധമായിട്ടുള്ള അങ്ങനെ ചിന്താഗതിയൊന്നുമില്ല. അത് എല്ലാ പാർട്ടിയും അംഗീകരിക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ ഈ 5 വർഷത്തിനിടയിൽ നമുക്ക് കൂടുതൽ മാനസികമായിട്ടെല്ലാം ഇതായിട്ടുള്ളത് CPM ആണ്.
But 55-year-old Ramanan in Alappuzha in South Kerala says he is voting for a change. He was forced to return from Saudi Arabia 2 years ago and didn't get any assistance for loan to set up a mechanical garage.
സാർ എങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരു അവസ്ഥയിലാണ് ഇപ്പം? എപ്പോഴായിരുന്നു വെളിയിലെ ജോലി ചെയ്യുമായിരുന്നു? എപ്പോഴാണ് തിരിച്ചു വന്നത്? എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഇത് തുറന്നത്? എന്തെങ്കിലും സഹായം കിട്ടിയിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നോ? എങ്ങനെയാണ്?
ഒരു സഹായം ആരുടെ ഭാഗത്തു നിന്നും ഉണ്ടായിട്ടില്ല.
നമ്മൾ വോട്ട് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ എങ്ങനെയായിരിക്കും വോട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നത്?
നമ്മളാരെ വോട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഭരണം മാറാൻ വേണ്ടി.
The left appears confident. The Chief Minister tweeted that he is willing to challenge Mr. Chennithala to a debate.
This is going to be for the first time in over half a century that you will have the continuation of an incumbent government.
The challenge for the Congress is evident in seats like Kayankulam, just 20 kilometers from where Mr. Chennithala is contesting. Here the left has won 3 consecutive times, making it ripe for the Congress to take. This seat now appears to have emerged as a tough contest between 2 women candidates. 26-year-old Arita Babu from the Congress and the CPM sitting MLA Pratibha Hari.
നല്ല കടുത്ത മത്സരങ്ങൾ തന്നെയാണ് കായംകുളത്തിൻ്റെ രാഷ്ട്രീയ പാരമ്പര്യം വെച്ചിട്ട് തന്നെ ശക്തമായ മത്സരമാണ്. കായംകുളത്തുകാരി എന്ന നിലയിൽ ഈ ഒരു മത്സരത്തേക്ക് ഇറങ്ങിത്തിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഈ നാട്ടിലെ ജനങ്ങൾക്ക് കഴിഞ്ഞ 5 വർഷക്കാലമായി ഇവിടെ നടത്തിയിരുന്ന കുറേയധികം വാഗ്ദാന ലംഘനങ്ങളുണ്ട്. അതിൽ കായംകുളത്തിൻ്റെ താലൂക്ക് തന്നെയാണ് ഇവിടുത്തെ ജനങ്ങൾക്കായി ഉറപ്പ് നൽകുന്നത്.
ഈ ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിൻ്റെ വികസനം കേരളം മുഴുവൻ വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു നല്ല ശതമാനം കായംകുളത്ത് വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. അന്ധമായ രാഷ്ട്രീയ വിരോധമില്ലാത്ത ആർക്കും കായംകുളത്ത് വികസനം നടന്നില്ല എന്ന് പറയാൻ കഴിയില്ല.
It is a tight battle in Kerala, with the left fiercely defending its last bastion in India currently. Congress, which is in power in just about 4 states or so, is looking to come back in Kerala. And BJP, which has only 1 MLA, has been seeing a steady increase in its vote base. With camera person SV Babu, Sneha Koshi for NDTV.
With that, time for us to slip into a short break. On the other side, we'll tell you about the big campaigns today. Stay with us. Welcome back. Let's get you all the election news for today. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is in Tamil Nadu to campaign for the BJP and its alliance AIADMK for the upcoming state elections, will be addressing rallies in Madurai and Kanyakumari today. He will also visit poll-bound Kerala and hold public meetings in Pathanamthitta and Thiruvananthapuram at 1:45 p.m. and 6:16 respectively. Home Minister Amit Shah will be in West Bengal today, where he will address several meetings and also hold 2 road shows. Now, AICC General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vadra will be in Assam today, where she'll be holding public meetings in Gwalpara East, Golakganj and Saru Khetri. Trinamool MP Mahua Moitra has called out the Prime Minister for his Didi O Didi taunt for the West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. On NDTV, she said, how is it okay for the Prime Minister to taunt a sitting Chief Minister in the cheapest way possible?
Ms. Moitra, do you feel that if you attack the Prime Minister along these lines, it will only give him an opportunity to appeal to his constituency or his people or his voters that, see, they're against me going to Hindu temples?
Sanket, I mean, I
That's
don't know
exactly
about
what he did today.
Sanket, let me tell you one thing, right? I mean, problem is that this Prime Minister is so sensitive to any criticism about himself. I've had people calling me and telling me, oh, you criticize the BJP all you like, it's okay, but please don't say anything about the boss. You know, so he and his ilk are all very, very worried and very sensitive about his image. Let me tell you one thing. This is the Prime Minister of India, and Shagorika is here, who's a native Bengali speaker. The Prime Minister, in rally after rally, is saying, Didi, oh Didi, in exactly this tone. Now, Shagorika will know that there is something that we have in Bengal called a rocker chele, which means a street side fellow who sits on a wall and who basically catcalls to every lady who's walking past, saying, hey, Didi, Didi. This is
you're saying this is a cat call. You're saying that the Prime Minister of India is...
No, Sanket, please don't take it out of context and play your part about it. Please, and play this. Doesn't it sound like that? What does it sound like? There's a Prime Minister in a rally of lakhs of people about a sitting Chief Minister saying, Didi, oh Didi. Would you say that? Would you say that? Would anybody? Would he say that about his mother? Would he say that about his sister? Would he say that about his estranged wife? Would he say that about anybody? How is that okay? Is this Prime Minister going to come and teach us about decorum? This is a Prime Minister who's sitting here taunting a sitting Chief Minister in the cheapest, basest way possible. And everybody here is scared to call it out, but I'm not. So don't give us any...
Okay. I think this is an important point that has been made. I'll have to very quickly give a right to reply to Chandra Bose, because a very important point has been made by Mahua Moitra. Chandra Bose, would you like to respond? She says that this is a very cheap way of addressing a sitting Chief Minister.
He has to agree.
Well, it depends on your interpretation. I think Narendra Modi ji is addressing Mamata Banerjee, the Honorable Chief Minister, very lovingly. I feel that is the interpretation that he would like people to understand. But of course, people can interpret it differently. That is their view. I have no objection. But I would also say that leaders should exercise constraint on the way they speak. It is not, we are not here to do a personal fight. Ours is a political fight. It is not a personal hatred or grudge
But
against
unfortunately,
anyone.
it has become
the message should go across.
It has become
Exercise
every bit personal, Mr. Bose.
Don't use unparliamentary language.
And news now from Assam. On polling day yesterday, there was violence in the last few minutes of polling in the Barak Valley. Police had to resort to lathi charge to disperse supporters of the BJP and the AIUDF who engaged in a fight at a polling centre in the Sonai constituency. In Assam, the fate of 35 candidates, including 4 ministers and deputy speaker, was sealed after voting yesterday. The most crucial contest in Barak Valley, Assam's Bengali heartland. Ratnadeep Chaudhary and Sanjay Chakrabarti sent us this report.
A good turnout at Silchar from early morning despite heavy rain overnight. But the polling remained overshadowed by polarization. The 15 seats today in Barak Valley of Assam, of which the incumbent BJP won 8. Now it's facing the Congress's Majot alliance with Ajmal and the possible consolidation of the approximately 48% Muslim votes. With Congress and Ajmal joining hands, a counter-push in favor of BJP is perhaps inevitable. Even in Congress stronghold like Tarapur, home turf of Women Congress chief Sushmita Deb. However, strikingly, the youth of Barak Valley are looking beyond polarizing issues.
हम लोग का जो मुद्दा है कोई भी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी ला नहीं सका है, नहीं इस बार देखता है क्या करता है, सब तो कमिटमेंट करता है लेकिन असल मुद्दा पे काम नहीं करता है.
For the BJP to hold on to the 8 seats it won in 2016 in Barak Valley is important to counter Majot surge.
हाँ, ये बात सही है. हिंदू मुसलमान का बात आता है. आज का दिन में इन लोग कोशिश में है कि अजमल को इन लोग मुख्यमंत्री बनाएगा.
Can an alliance partner with 14 seats demand a chief minister? No. तो आप एक बार you can use communal politics, but today people are hungry, people are jobless, people are fed up of corruption and syndicate.
In the other regions of Assam that went to poll today, watchers believe that BJP has an edge and therefore the Mahajot would be hoping for a total consolidation of anti-BJP votes in Barak Valley, whereas the BJP would be hoping to hold on to its stronghold from where it once started its electoral journey. In Silchar, with camera person Sanjay Chakrabarti, Ratnadeep Chaudhary for NDTV.
Well, let's now get to the latest COVID news. And the Cabinet Secretary is chairing a review meeting of all the state chief secretaries today. This after India reported a massive rise of over 72,000 cases on Thursday, a huge spike in cases being reported in several states. Let's go across to Parimal for more on this story. And Parimal, the government really, amping it up, given that we're seeing this spike and India's in the midst of a second wave of COVID.
निश्चित तौर पे गार्गी, और जैसा हमने देखा है कि फरवरी में अगर मिड फरवरी की बात करें तो कभी 10,000 केसेस भी रिपोर्ट हो रहे थे और अभी करीब 70,000 केसेस रिपोर्ट हो रहे हैं हर दिन. तो केसेस बहुत तेजी से बढ़ रहे हैं और कोशिश यही है रिव्यू मीटिंग को लेकर, जो हमारी जानकारी मिली है, कि चाहे वो कंटेनमेंट स्ट्रेटेजी हो, चाहे वैक्सीनेशन के पेस को मेंटेन करने की बात हो, चाहे आइसोलेशन में कोताही बरती जा रही हो उसको लेकर बात हो. क्योंकि बार बार ये कहा गया, महाराष्ट्र को लेकर हमने देखा कि कई बार चिट्ठी आई है, पंजाब को लेकर ये सवाल उठाया गया कि न तो वहां टेस्ट हो रहे हैं, न ही लोगों को आइसोलेट सही से किया जा रहा है. तो ये समय समय पर सवाल उठते रहे हैं और जो राज्य हैं, करीब 7-8 राज्य जहां से करीब 80-90% मामले रोजाना रिपोर्ट हो रहे हैं, तो वो एक चिंता का विषय तो है ही. लेकिन ये भी साफ तौर पे कहा जा रहा है कि ऐसा नहीं कि जिन राज्यों में मामले ज्यादा आ रहे हैं सिर्फ वहीं पे निगरानी रखने की जरूरत है. जो राज्य कम मामले रिपोर्ट कर रहे हैं वहां पर भी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ग्राउंड पे सही से होनी चाहिए. और उन तमाम चीजों को लेके मीटिंग इसलिए अहम हो जाती है क्योंकि लगातार जो मामले बढ़ रहे हैं तो ग्राउंड पे किस तरीके से काम करना है, इंप्लीमेंट कैसे करना है चीजों को, चाहे वो कंटेनमेंट स्ट्रेटजी की बात हो, वैक्सीनेशन बढ़ाने की बात हो, आइसोलेशन की बात हो, तो इन तमाम चीजों को लेके आज मीटिंग है. और इस मायने में अहम है क्योंकि कोरोना के केसेस लगातार हमने देखा है कि वो हर दिन एक तरीके से नया रिकॉर्ड बन रहा है. दूसरी बार ये कोरोना की लहर आई है तो उसमें हर दिन नया रिकॉर्ड बन रहा है, तो इसलिए ये मीटिंग अहम हो जाती है.
All right, Parimal, thanks so much for joining us. With that, so the Cabinet Secretary chairing a meeting on the COVID crisis today. Yesterday, remember, vaccinations opened up for all those above 45 years of age. Now, so far, if we talk about the number of vaccines that have been delivered, it's 6.87 crore. So India has crossed that 6.87 crore milestone. But in proportion to the entire population, that still remains less, and India has to increase. And the government is hoping that now with the vaccine, this phase of the vaccinations for over 45-year-old, that the drive will really pick up, and we'll see over at least 50 lakh vaccinations taking place in a day. Now, if we take a look at the worst affected state, it is Maharashtra, and Mumbai yesterday reported the highest COVID cases in a 24-hour period with 8,646 cases of COVID, making it the highest one-day spike since the pandemic reached the city early last year. 18 deaths were also reported in the last 24 hours, and Maharashtra has reported over 43,000 cases in a single day. In Delhi as well, a surge in COVID cases being seen. The Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has now called an urgent meeting with the Health Minister and other officials as the city reported 2,790 new COVID cases on Thursday, the highest daily figure this year. The city had logged 1,819 cases a day ago, making Thursday's jump a huge 53%. A Delhi government has also decided there will be no physical classes for students up to Class 8. But that time for us to slip into a short break. On the other side, we'll get you all the international news. Stay with us. Amid the rise in COVID cases every day, the Cabinet Secretary is chairing a review meeting of all state chief secretaries today morning. This after India reported over 72,000 cases on Thursday. A huge spike in cases is being seen in several states. Let's go across to NDTV's Sunil Prabhu now for more. And Sunil, tell us more about this meeting.
Well, Gargi, as you're well aware, and as you've been saying, there have been a spurt of cases, and it's in that backdrop that the Cabinet Secretary will be urging the Chief Secretaries as well as the state health administrations across this country to step up the vaccination drive, to ensure, involve the private sector, private hospitals, and see that they are able to try to fight this virus with the vaccination, because as they've already indicated and a message to the states that it has to be left to the local level, to the state governments, to decide whether a lockdown is required or not. There's no more going to be a nationwide lockdown, even though there is a resurgence in cases, and those are deeply worrying and extremely a cause of concern. The Cabinet Secretary will be speaking to his state chief secretaries as well as the state health administration to ramp up and ensure that more people get vaccinated. I think that's the message, including using the state health apparatus as well as the private hospitals to ensure that more people get vaccinated.
All right, Sunil, thanks so much for joining us with that. So the Cabinet Secretary to hold that meeting with all chief secretaries. Now let's focus on Maharashtra and Mumbai. Mumbai reported the highest COVID cases in a 24-hour period with 8,646 cases of COVID, which is the highest one-day spike since the pandemic reached the city last year. 18 deaths were also reported in 24 hours, and Maharashtra has reported over 43,000 cases in a single day. Let's go across to Purva for more. And Purva, we believe there's not going to be a statewide lockdown, but there will be certain measures that are going to be announced and more localized efforts to control the spread of the disease.
Absolutely. In fact, if we look at the state and state data, then we can just see how there are certain districts which are worse, and Mumbai being one of them. 8,600 plus cases in just one day. That's a record for Mumbai as well. And since the pandemic, this is the highest single day number of cases. And also yesterday, Mumbai's Mayor Kishori Pednekar just hinted that there will be more stricter measures, which could mean that even the Mumbai locals, which have been open for common public right now, there might be some halt in that as well. However, the SOPs have not yet come out from the state, but the mayor hinted that the malls or the religious places, there might be some curbs in that as well. So definitely some stricter measures need to be taken at this point, Gargi, because also people are still not following that COVID protocol. There is still overcrowding in a lot of places. People, the private offices, the government says that the private offices are also not following the norms which are being given to them, that not more than 50% should be occupied. Even that is not being followed. So somewhere the stricter measures will be in place. However, as far as the vaccination is also concerned, well, yesterday the state said that in one day when 45 plus was they started giving vaccine, in one day about 3 lakh people were vaccinated across the state, and in Mumbai nearly 50,000 people were vaccinated. So yes, the vaccination drive needs to ramp up, it needs to go up as well, but the number of cases that are coming and also the deaths is something that is a worry for the state, and the state should come out now with a stricter and a clearer SOPs as to what they actually are going to do in order to curb these cases which are going up every day.
All right. Thanks so much, Purva, for joining us with that. And we're going to now focus on Punjab as well as UP. First, Punjab, which has reported 3,187 fresh COVID cases and 60 fatalities due to it. And the state had seen the maximum daily surge of 3,176 on March 26. The centre has asked Punjab and Chandigarh to effectively implement the test, track, treat strategy against the pandemic and also ensure priority vaccination of eligible population groups. Let's go across to Ghazali now for more. And Ghazali, that's really what's being said about, how the Punjab government is not doing enough. It seems that not enough vaccinations are taking place on the ground and people are just violating COVID protocols.
See, what is more worrying is that experts earlier said that by end of March, the daily cases will hit the number of the figure of 3,000. But yesterday, the health department has predicted that in the coming weeks, the number of cases, the daily number of cases may even touch 4,000. So that is a big worry because what was predicted earlier has come true by the end of March. And as you quoted, the daily cases touched 3,186 yesterday, which is an all-time high because the last time when the peak was in September, the daily cases touched 2,800 something. So now the cases are rising. People are certainly not following COVID protocols, and I'll tell you that many political rallies are also being held. COVID protocols are being violated. Yesterday, Akali Dal held a rally in Amritsar region where Sukhbir Badal, the party president who tested positive, recovered, was again addressing the rally without any mask, and even many party workers or those attending the rallies were not having any face mask or any social distancing was being followed. Now, on one side, the government is saying that it is worrying situation in Punjab. The Chief Minister had to come on Facebook Live yesterday asking people to go for vaccination. The state has been rapped by centre for not increasing the testing or vaccination numbers, but the state government says that it is doing more than enough as per that its testing capacity or the testing figures are higher than the national figures. So as of now, the issue is very concerning for the state government, though testing numbers or vaccination numbers are picking up in Punjab, but yet the cases are going to touch, or the daily cases is certainly going to increase in the next month as predicted by the experts.
All right, Ghazali, thanks so much for that. And let's go across to Alok now for the situation in UP and an alarming situation with COVID cases rising, the number of active cases reaching close to 10,000 for the first time since January 15th. An official talking about how this time you're seeing cases in rural parts as well.
कि ये जो बीमारी है कोरोना की, ये केवल शहरी क्षेत्र में होती है। ये भ्रम बिल्कुल नहीं होना चाहिए। जो इस बार के केसेस आ रहे हैं उसमें जो हम लोगों ने विश्लेषण किया है तो ये पाया गया है कि लगभग आधे आधे केस शहरी क्षेत्र और ग्रामीण क्षेत्र से आ रहे हैं। तो पिछली बार ये 3/4 1/4 का रेशियो होता था, अनुपात होता था। इस बार लगभग आधे केस हमको ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों से मिल रहे हैं। तो ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में भी जो लोग निवास करते हैं 45 साल या उससे अधिक उम्र के लोग, उनको शीघ्रतापूर्वक अपना वैक्सीनेशन करवाना चाहिए और सुरक्षित हो जाना चाहिए।
Well, let's go across to Alok for more. And Alok, an urgent need to push the vaccination drive in rural parts as well. And as you know, the Chief Secretary there, Additional Chief Secretary, was saying that it's being observed this time. A lot of cases being reported in rural parts. In fact, from there, it's coming to the urban areas.
Well, I think that's a very significant statement, Gargi, because we also have been reporting or trying to analyze whether the second wave of the COVID pandemic is being generated or is getting an impetus, so to say, from our smaller towns, not only in Uttar Pradesh, but elsewhere in India too, and also the countries and the states' villages. Now, this statement by the Additional Chief Secretary Health does point to the fact that at least in Uttar Pradesh, now a lot of cases are being generated in the rural areas also. And that is why vaccination does become very, very important. What is also of immense worry is the caseload right now. Like you said, there are 10,000 active cases. In fact, the exact count of active cases, COVID cases in UP right now is 11,918. Also worrying is the fact that 1/4 of that number, or at least, in fact, more than that, 3,912 active cases, Gargi, are in Lucknow itself. And yesterday, the case count in a 24-hour period for Lucknow was 935 cases. And this is the biggest case count in a single day for a long, long time that I can remember. I don't remember this year at any point of time the case load in a single day hiking up by this much. That said, the administration is trying to do some efforts, not only in Lucknow but elsewhere too. In Lucknow yesterday, the administration went and sealed a big mall because COVID protocols are not being followed there. Some other establishments were also sealed. The government has been putting out appeals for people to mask up and to maintain social distancing, but we've reported all through last week about how these norms are not being followed, especially in religious and festive gatherings. And that is something that the government needs to look at. Overall, the testing figures right now, just 30 more seconds. The testing figures are around, again, gone back to around 1,20,000 tests daily, which does seem to be a huge number by volume. But when you look at the tests per millions, per million, perhaps that is inadequate. So the other concern, of course, being how many RT-PCR or gold standard tests are being conducted. Unfortunately, the government does not give us daily data about that. And it would certainly help if the government could give out those figures, because that would give an indication of what kind of tests are also being conducted.
All right, Alok, thanks so much. And a worrying situation in UP and a worrying situation in the national capital. Also, once again, Sukirti, and today the Chief Minister has called for a meeting. Also, schools will go back online till class 8. Right, Sukirti, if you can hear me.
Gargi, can you repeat your question, please?
I was asking about, the Chief Minister calling for a meeting today. Also, how physical classes in schools have been restricted for those only above class 8.
Well, yes, the Delhi Chief Minister now taking even further measures in order to assess the situation, and also the meeting today will look at what are the other stringent measures that could be taken in order to control the cases. At the same time, one thing that needs to be pointed out is that at least over the last several months or over the course of the last 1 year, the Chief Minister has repeatedly said that lockdowns are not the way how you go forward. We have to keep the economy functional, but at the same time we also have to keep our COVID precautions. So that is what the Delhi government's aim has always been, that you have to keep the economic activities, the social activities to a bare minimum, but ensure that the economy doesn't get affected, but at the same time COVID precautions have to be taken. So that's the approach that the Delhi government usually holds, and it is with the same approach that they will be looking at how the cases have been increasing. Delhi registered over 2,000 daily cases yesterday, and within the last 1 month, Delhi has been seeing this consistent upsurge in cases. So all of that will be under consideration, and what are the further measures that could be taken. We already have measures like a fine of 2,000 rupees for not wearing a mask, but what are the other containment strategies or isolation strategies, or even in terms of hospital infrastructure, like ICU beds are being increased, more beds being reserved in hospitals. That has already been done in the last few days, but further measures to be taken. And of course, like other states in Delhi as well, there are restrictions coming in terms of the number of children that can go to school and the ones who cannot, because safety is the biggest priority at this point of time.
All right, Sukirti, thanks so much for joining us with all those details. And let's take a look now at Karnataka, where 4,000 new cases, over 4,000 cases have been reported in the state, including almost 3,000 in Bengaluru. Over 30,000 active cases have been reported. Well, to talk more about this surge that we're seeing in the second wave of COVID, we're joined now by Dr. Yatin Mehta, Chairman, Medanta Institute of Critical Care. Also joining us from Mumbai is Dr. Avinash Bhondre, Senior Physician and former President of the IMA Maharashtra State. Dr. Bhondre, first to you, the situation in Maharashtra especially is very, very worrying. Mumbai reporting the highest number of cases it's ever reported yesterday. And we do know that more measures are going to be announced. There's an urgent need. While there won't be a total lockdown in the state, the government is going to announce more measures to control the crowds and ensure more protocols are followed.
Yeah, in Maharashtra the situation is really getting worse. Yesterday we had the highest number of new cases, that is it crossed 43,000, and it was really serious. And the infectivity rate amongst million is around 310 now. Anything which goes above 110 is always very risky and dangerous for the health system. It seems that there are, at many places, the 9 districts are affected very badly, and in these places, including Mumbai, Pune and Nagpur, the conditions are very bad. The people are not getting beds for the admissions. Even for the COVID care centers, at some places, the beds are not available. The oxygen availability is also going down at various places. In some places, the oxygen is absolutely not, the hospitals are not getting proper oxygen. And all these things, that still the blame game is there, and because of the political situation, the government is not able to take the strict decision about the lockdown. And the thinking is that they will be observing all these strict things for the strict legal thing for this COVID appropriate situation by the people, COVID appropriate behavior by the people. But still practically on the road, we are not having, rather we are not observing any strict decision taken by the government. At the same time, we have to increase the contact tracing, which is still not yet increased, which was rather advised by Government of Maharashtra as 20 per case, and Government of India 30 per case, but still we are lagging up to 5 per case. And yesterday, the Government of Maharashtra decided to continue the vaccination drive in a very enthusiastic way. Every week, they are going to give around 35 lakh jabs, and 5 lakh jabs will be given. But still, yesterday was the first day, the full target was not achieved.
All right. So an urgent need to increase that vaccination. In fact, many experts talking about how we should have taken advantage of the trough, early this year when we had lower cases being reported. Dr. Mehta, on the one hand, you have the health ministry, advising caution, asking everyone to follow protocols. You have today the chief secretary is going to hold a cabinet secretary is going to hold a meeting with all chief secretaries, etc. But is there mixed messaging from the government? Because on the other hand, you continue to have these massive rallies, you have elections taking place, you have the Kumbh taking place. How are people, to take this all very seriously?
Gargi, I would agree with you fully. I mean, these are mixed messages. You look at the rallies going on in the where the elections are being held. I mean, there people have completely opened up. You look at the markets, where people have completely given up. Or either they're fed up or they think religion is going to protect them. I don't know. But I mean, this is not the way. We were almost winning. Now, situation is very bad. I'm told, particularly in Maharashtra, I talked to my medical colleagues there, they are getting saturated. ICU beds are now almost full. People are not getting COVID beds. And Delhi is also seems to be heading the same way. I think this is a time to put politics aside. Just look at the crowds on your screen. I mean, we must handle it on a war footing, forget about all other politicking, just concentrate on this. I do not see much of contact tracing. I do not see much of isolation, quarantine or containment zone, which we were doing out on a war footing where we were winning. So the full administration in all over the country must concentrate on this on a war footing. Vaccines will give you protection, but not now. It is a few months away. So vaccination drive should continue. I would advise everybody to take the vaccine. But this contact precaution, isolation, masking, gloving should be very, very strictly implemented. See, unless there is a danda, nothing happens in this country. So I was seeing earlier when the situation was tight, how a lady inspector was hitting somebody with a stick. You know, they goes against human rights, but I mean, dead people do not have rights. So this is a pandemic situation. This is a war footing. We must handle it, and everything else must be put aside, differences and politicking. But this is the only way. I mean, COVID appropriate behavior is the only way we will win this war.
Right, absolutely. And, you know, it's the doctors and nurses and healthcare workers who are suffering right now because once again, as you're talking about, you know, hospitals are filling up. Dr. Bhonwe, also, you know, this mutant variant that has been found, especially in Maharashtra, do you think we know enough right now about how widespread it is? So far, the government is saying this is not behind this surge in cases.
Yeah, right from the first week of February, it was doubted that this is some new variant is there. We have been talking on NDTV also in that time, but it was neglected by the government, and they were always claiming that there is no new variant in Maharashtra or India. But after all, when the cases started increasing on 25th of March, they found that this new variant in Maharashtra, there are two variants who are double mutant. So that was a very serious thing because all the scenario was changed. The rate at which the new infections were coming up.
Dr. Bhonwe and Dr. Mehta, thank you so much for joining us on NDTV. And of course, here we continue to report about, you know, the dangers of the coronavirus numbers going up and how COVID protocols must be followed. But as you see on the ground, the situation is very, very different. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you.
Well, let's now get you election news from Assam, and a massive controversy that has broken out in Assam. Security forces had to resort to a lathi charge and even had to fire in the air to disperse a massive mob in Karimganj in Assam's Barak Valley yesterday. Now, remember, polling took place in Barak Valley yesterday, and the police action followed after a crowd surrounded this vehicle. It was a private vehicle, but it was seen carrying an EVM and a polling official as well. And this video of the incident has gone viral on social media. Official sources, however, have told NDTV that the vehicle assigned to a polling team broke down midway while they were returning to Karimganj after completion of the voting process. And then, for some inexplicable reason, they took a ride with a private vehicle, which the opposition has claimed belongs to a BJP leader. As the vehicle approached the strong room in Karimganj, the opposition supporters then identified it and surrounded the vehicle. Let's go across to NDTV's Ratnadeep for more. And there you can see what opposition members are saying in tweets as they've called out this controversy over the EVM being found in a private vehicle. Ratnadeep, what is the explanation?
That's right. This is a very bizarre incident, in fact, because the explanation is very interesting. Now, what has happened, and this is a version that we have picked up from official sources. We did speak to several top officials, and the official version that we are picking up from the sources is that last evening, after the voting process got completed, this polling team who were deployed in a polling center in Ratabari constituency, which is under Karimganj district, they were returning back when their vehicle, the officially assigned vehicle, broke down. The presiding officer had then called up the sector officer for a replacement vehicle. They were assured that the replacement vehicle will come in, but it took a bit of more time, and in between, for reasons best known to the polling team, they decided to take a lift on a private vehicle. Remember, there was an escort party of police officials, police personnel also along with the polling team. Now, as they took the lift on a private vehicle, as they approached the Karimganj town, a mob out the vehicle. The mob completely, tried to ransack the vehicle, beat up the driver because maybe there were supporters of the opposition party within the mob. That is also not confirmed as of now. But the allegation was that the vehicle on which they took the lift belongs to a BJP candidate. Now, not the BJP candidate from the Ratabari constituency from where the EVM was coming, but a BJP candidate of an adjacent constituency. Now, what we are picking up from opposition, what we are picking up from official sources is that they have checked and they have found out that the vehicle belongs to somebody in the family of a BJP candidate from another adjacent constituency. Now, already there is a police case which has been registered in terms of the mob violence which took place, because when the administration got to know about it, they sent in reinforcement to the area. Heavy lathi charge had to be done, and not only that, the mob only got dispersed after there was blank firing by the security forces. Remember yesterday in another incident in Kachhat district of Barak Valley in Sonai constituency, there were police had to there was firing by the personal security officers of the deputy speaker of the assembly, Mr. Aminul Haq Rashkar, after he was get out by few people, and 3 people got injured. So two major incidents of violence in Barak Valley after yesterday's polls.
All right, and this highly irregular incident in which a private vehicle was transporting EVMs and polling officials. Thanks so much, Ratnadi, for joining us with all those details. Time for us to slip into a short break. We'll get you more news on the other side. Stay with us. Welcome back. Well, let's get to the campaign schedule for today. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is in Tamil Nadu, will be campaigning for the upcoming elections. He will be addressing rallies in Madurai and Kanyakumari today. He will then move to poll-bound Kerala and hold public meetings in Pathanamthitta and Thiruvananthapuram at around 1:45 and 6:16 p.m. respectively. Home Minister Amit Shah will be campaigning in West Bengal today. It went to polls yesterday in the second phase of the elections. Remember, it's 8 phases in total. Amit Shah will be addressing several meetings and also hold 2 roadshows in Bengal today. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra will be back in Assam. The AICC General Secretary will be holding public meetings, in fact 3 public meetings in the course of the day in Gwalpara East and Golakganj as well as Saru Khetri. Now, news coming in from Uttar Pradesh. The railway police in UP's Jhansi have arrested 2 people in a case related to the alleged harassment of nuns who belong to Kerala, who were travelling in a train and were harassed over conversions by some men. A railway police officer has said that the men have been arrested.
प्रभारी निरीक्षक झांसी और क्यूआरटी टीम अपने हमराहियों के साथ प्रभारी निरीक्षक रेलवे स्टेशन पर गश्त कर रहे थे कि क्यूआरटी टीम को ये जानकारी मिली कि 2 व्यक्ति पुराने बुकिंग हॉल के पास आपस में बातचीत कर रहे हैं और कह रहे हैं कि दिनांक 19/3/21 को जो उत्कल एक्सप्रेस में धर्मांतरण के संबंध में सूचना मिली थी, उसमें पुलिस के द्वारा प्रॉपर कार्रवाई नहीं की गई और दोनों ननों को छोड़ दिया गया था। तो उस संबंध में प्रभारी निरीक्षक सुनील कुमार सिंह ने दोनों से पूछताछ की तो आमादा फौजदारी होने लगे। कहने लगे कि हम लोग इसके संबंध में प्रदर्शन करेंगे कि इस पर कोई प्रॉपर कार्रवाई नहीं की गई है। तो इस संबंध में दोनों व्यक्तियों को गिरफ्तार किया गया है।
Well, let's go across to Alok for more. Alok, give us the details. Who are these 2 men who've been arrested?
What we've been told, Gargi, is that at least one of the men belongs to a right-wing organization and is affiliated to that organization and works in Jhansi for the organization. The other person is his associate, is what we are told. We'll wait for the police to give us more details, so at least an FIR copy for us to see what offences they have been charged under. That will be interesting to see, because that will give us a sense of whether the case is being watered down or whether there is any actual intention of acting against him. When you see, it's one thing to make an arrest, and if you don't apply serious charges, then the person makes bail and the case kind of falls apart. So that's something that one has to look at. The reasoning for the arrest also seemed a little convoluted to me. I'm sure it did to you too, Gargi, because the cops are claiming that they were patrolling the railway station and these men were talking about how they were dissatisfied with the nuns being left off and they were bound to protest, and that's why they've been arrested. So that again does seem to be a little flimsy, at least in my opinion. What happened was absolutely shocking. Just to recap for our viewers, 2 nuns and their 2 novices or apprentices were travelling on a train that was passing through UP's Jhansi. And there were some members of the Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad, which is the student wing of the RSS, who were also travelling in the same train. And they somehow managed to think up this entire theory where they thought that the 2 nuns were trying to convert the 2 other women. One of the ABVP members gave a written complaint to the police and the nuns were forced to deboard the train. and videos of them were made, etc., etc. And then the police questioned them, and then when they realized this was not a case of conversion, they were let off. But by that time, the damage had been done. The Kerala Chief Minister wrote to the Home Minister. He asked for action. There are elections happening in Kerala right now, and Amit Shah, the Home Minister, was campaigning there, and he had promised some action. But if this is the action that is being taken, then one wonders how this case will proceed. But one waits to hear more from the police about what concrete on-the-ground action will now be taken and what kind of FIR has been filed or will be filed.
Alok, from what the cop said, what we could make out was that these men were just, some men who were overheard talking about how they weren't satisfied with the manner in which the nuns were dealt with, and they are the two men arrested. So we don't know if these are the men who were involved in the actual harassment of the nuns. Is that what we're to understand?
See, one of them seems to have been involved. That is what we've been told by sources. But that's not on record. On record, the reasoning for the arrest is what you and I heard the gentleman say, which is that the two men were discussing this and the police chanced upon it, that they were discussing a protest against the police because they felt that the police had been lax in investigating the nuns, etc. So that is the on-record reasoning given for the arrest, and that is why I'm saying again that, one waits to see the FIR and one waits to see what further action is taken in the case, because, you see, it's one thing to actually act on a case and actually give the nuns and those two other women some sense of justice, and it's another thing to try and just I don't want to use the word cover up, but to try and just make an arrest here or there, and that is why we'll wait for some more time to see how this proceeds.
All right, so more information is awaited on the arrest of those two men in Jhansi. Thank you so much, Alok, for joining us with the very latest. Well, let's now get you the latest COVID numbers that have been announced, and the Health Ministry has released that 81,466 new COVID cases have been detected in the last 24 hours. That's the highest this year, and that's the highest in the last couple of months. In fact, it's believed perhaps it's the highest daily increase across the world, because the US has reported over 60,000 cases in 24 hours. India reporting 81,466 cases, 469 deaths being reported in the last 24 hours. That's an increase of 10 deaths since yesterday. So there you can see India reporting this massive increase in cases. Today, the Cabinet Secretary is going to chair a review meeting of all state secretaries, state chief secretaries today at 11 to go over the COVID protocols, go over the actions being taken by the states, also to ask them to increase the vaccination drive. Remember, since yesterday, the vaccine drive has opened up for all above 45 years of age, and it's hoped that more and more people will come to get vaccinated every day, and we can actually vaccinate around 5 million per day, which is what experts say we should be vaccinating at. Well, time for us to slip into a short break. We'll get you the international news on the other side. Stay with us.